They told you Magellan was a hero who sailed around the world, but they left out the part where he got killed by a barefoot island warrior who refused to kneel. On April 27, 1521, a tribal chief with no armor, no gunpowder, and no European army changed the course of history. This isn't just about the Philippines. This is about one man who stood up to an empire and won. This is the story they don't teach you in school. This is the battle that ended a legend. Let's rewind to 1521. Ferdinand Magellan, a Portuguese explorer sailing for Spain, arrives in the Philippines. He's not just exploring, he's conquering. He's already claimed islands, converted chiefs, baptized villages. He allies with Raja Humabon of Cebu, who sees opportunity in joining forces with the Spanish. Together, they plan to persuade other leaders to fall in line. But then there's Mactan Island, and there's one man who refuses to bow. Lapu-Lapu was a Datu, a tribal chief of Mactan. Unlike Raja Humabon, he wasn't interested in foreign alliances. He didn't want Spanish weapons, clothes, or religion. To him, Magellan wasn't a savior. He was a foreigner demanding obedience in someone else's land. Magellan sent messages, demands. Lapu-Lapu said no. Magellan sent threats. Lapu-Lapu still said no. And that was enough for war. Here's the thing. Magellan had already done more than what was expected. His job was to find a route to the Spice Islands. But now, he was getting involved in local politics and starting fights he didn't need to. Raja Humabon pushed him. "If you help me defeat Lapu-Lapu, I'll give you more influence." Magellan agreed. He thought it would be an easy win. A small tribal island versus the might of Europe. What could go wrong? April 27, 1521. Magellan sets out with around 60 men. Only 49 land on Mactan Island. He leaves the rest on the boats. Why? He thought it would be over quick. They have guns, they have swords, they have armor. Lapu-Lapu, he has about 1,500 men, spears, bows, bolos, and the home field advantage. Magellan underestimated everything. The Spanish couldn't land near the village. The coral reef blocked the ships from getting close. So Magellan and his men had to walk, knee-deep in water, wearing metal armor and carrying weapons. By the time they reached the shore, they were already exhausted. They were open targets, slow, loud, exposed. Lapu-Lapu knew this. He waited until they were on the beach, and then attacked. The moment Magellan's men stepped on land, they were surrounded. Lapu-Lapu's warriors were fast, launching spears from a distance, then closing in with knives and bolos. The Spanish fired back, but their gunpowder was wet. The crossbows were too slow. The muskets barely worked. They tried to form ranks, but it was chaos. Magellan himself was targeted. They knew who he was, the leader. A poisoned spear hit him in the leg. He staggered. He kept fighting, slashing wildly, shield in one hand, sword in the other. Magellan ordered his men to retreat. Some ran, some were killed. But Magellan stayed, maybe out of pride, maybe to cover the retreat. Maybe he still thought he could win. Big mistake. Lapu-Lapu's men rushed him. He was hit in the face, the arm, the leg. He collapsed into the shallow water, and they didn't stop. They finished him there, on the beach, in front of everyone. The explorer, who'd crossed oceans, didn't make it off the island. The Spanish tried to trade gold for Magellan's body. Lapu-Lapu refused. They fled Mactan, humiliated. Raja Humabon was shocked. He'd backed the losing side. Tensions rose. The Spanish feared more attacks. They abandoned the Philippines for the time being. Magellan's dream of conquering the islands, gone. Though Magellan died, his crew continued. Under Juan Sebastian Elcano, they made it back to Spain, completing the first circumnavigation of the Earth. Magellan didn't live to see it, but his name lived on, in maps, in books, in classrooms. Still, the Philippines didn't remember him as a hero. They remembered Lapu-Lapu. Lapu-Lapu wasn't royalty. He didn't have an empire. But he had courage, the kind that makes legends. He didn't ask for war, but he refused to kneel. He showed the world something simple but powerful. You can stand your ground, even when you're outnumbered, even when they have guns and you don't, even when they come from across the ocean. That made him the first Filipino hero. History likes to glorify conquerors. But sometimes, the real story belongs to the ones who said no. Magellan came looking for glory. Lapu-Lapu sent him home in pieces. They don't tell this part in school, but maybe they should.